Hello and welcome to another episode of Interviews from an Undisclosed Location. I'm still your host, Mark Papiani. Undisclosed Locations is a series of podcasts produced by the John Cotton Dana Library at Rutgers University. In this series, I will be talking with my colleagues and co-workers discussing their positions and jobs at Dana Library. We'll also get a little bit into their personal lives, if, of course, I can coerce, and they will indulge. Drinks depend on the time of day, and conversations may get a little in-depth or may stay flat on the surface, and there's always a chance for a few laughs, but don't hold me to that. Today's guest is Krista White, Digital Humanities Librarian at the John Cotton Dana Library.
Krista White, welcome to Undisclosed Locations.
And glad to be here. I've been listening. I really like it.
You're one of our faithful listeners.
Yes.
There aren't that many at this moment, but we've been encouraging people to share these interviews and hashtag them and post them wherever they possibly can. So we appreciate that, and I appreciate your encouragement and your listening. And you didn't really have any pointers or anything like that, I don't think.
No, I need to promote on my Facebook and Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for the reminder that we need promotion for this.
Mm-hmm. Adriana has done a nice job of it. I put it up on the Dana Library Facebook page, and she has graciously pushed it along to her friends and family and so forth, and gotten a number of views. So I think that's pretty cool, and I appreciate that too. So again, whatever you can do, I would appreciate it. But this is Undisclosed Locations. You are where, in Hawaii, Maui, Fiji?
I have no idea.
But you have a palm tree growing out of your head.
I have a palm tree growing out of my head. Yes, that's my headdress.
Okay.
And then the little tiki hut for drinks is right there.
Yeah, that.
But for those of you listening, I'm pointing at all the features in my virtual background while I record this on Zoom.
We record it on Zoom or WebEx or wherever it is. But we won't be able to appreciate the background or seeing your face or anything like that, because this is strictly audio. Audio. Maybe in next season we'll graduate into a video production and actually have an actual set where we can come and sit down and do it like a real talk show. But in times of pandemic, in times of shutdown, in times of the stressful, crazy times that we're in, this is what we're going to deal with. So again, welcome, and thanks for being here. How's everything going with you? You're still
home, aren't you? Well.
You're still home, right?
I'm still home. They extended work from home for folks who do not have to be on campus to December 31st.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
I'm betting that's going to include me too.
Probably, yeah.
I haven't heard.
Because you don't do circulation or any direct services to the students and faculty, yeah. And we're doing reference virtually. It's all online, chat reference, email.
Okay.
I actually had a screen share session with someone earlier this week on reference, so that was kind of cool.
Is it working out for you? I mean, it's been 22 weeks, I think.
Yeah. And
all of this working from home. I don't think that you had a problem getting started with it or anything like that. Has it been keeping up the momentum of being able to work from home?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's difficult. But because I definitely prefer to work in the office. I like to have that separation between the workspace and the home space.
Yeah, sure.
And but for safety reasons, it's not possible. I talked it over with Consuela, and I don't want to put anyone in danger, and I am very happy with the protocols that the libraries have put in place for everything to try and keep everybody safe. So I will manage. And it's not all bad. I have no commute, right?
No, I have no commute. Well, you have a lot less of a commute than you used to have. Now, you used to live in, without giving locations away or anything like
Without disclosing my location.
that? You used to live in Western New Jersey?
Yes, I lived in far western New Jersey, very close to the Delaware Water Gap.
Oh, okay.
And so it used to be an hour and a half one way for me to
Oh,
get to work.
yeah. I don't think I've ever commuted that far. I mean, maybe an hour, but never that far. But
In the summertime, it was only an hour. I could get to Dana in an hour flat in the summertime when there was no traffic for
Mhm.
school and people were on vacation.
Okay. But now you're much closer.
Yes.
And just over a bridge, let's say that.
Yes.
Everybody knows. I think where your home.
Well, yes, the general public doesn't, but our colleagues know.
Our
So
colleagues all know. Yeah. So hopefully this will go out to more than just our colleagues.
absolutely.
So, but as far as your position goes at the library, what exactly is your position?
So I'm the Digital Scholarship and Pedagogies librarian.
Okay, for those of us who don't speak that language.
Right, exactly. Well, a lot of people don't speak that language. So what I do is I assist faculty with finding resources for digital scholarship. Now that's a broad term. My first title was Digital Humanities librarian, and some people might be more familiar with that term, although nobody can define it. I'll just tell you that right now. Nobody's ever defined it. So.
Your nameplate, I should let everybody know, my office is right next to Krista's office, and your nameplate on your outside your door always said Digital Humanitarian.
Yes.
I don't know who made up that term, but I always thought that was great.
It's nice to be labeled a humanitarian. I don't know what the digital part of that means, but
humanitarian, digital humanitarian,
right.
visual humanitarian. But go on, proceed further.
Yeah, so digital humanities takes computing technology of a wide variety and applies it to scholarship in the humanities, the arts, art history, some of the softer sides of some of the social sciences like cultural anthropology, sociology, English. Actually, English languages and literatures are probably the largest group of scholars that use digital humanities because working with computers on text documents is easy. Computers know how to read those, right?
Right.
It's harder with images and music and things, but people are making headway in those areas as well. And so what I do is I help faculty find digital apps that they want to use for coursework. I create objects that they can use for research. There's a map that I'm working on right now. It's a redo of a map that I did years and years ago, which, by the way, was not my idea. I saw it somewhere else and I replicated it. So I don't want to sound like a genius, but it's a map that takes the gross domestic product of countries from World Bank data and applies it, compares it to the gross domestic product of one of the 50 states of the United States. And so then what I do on the map is I label the state as the international country rather than as the state. So you can see, like the map I did ages ago, South Korea had a similar GDP to New Jersey. And so you can sort of see like the wealth that the United States generates as compared to other places in the world. I think Texas was comparable to Italy, right?
Okay.
So those are the kinds of things. And then I put the spreadsheet up that I used to create that map, and that becomes a data set that people can use and riff off of for their own projects.
Just curious.
So,
what was New Jersey compared to?
South Korea.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Okay, you did say that.
Yeah. And so, And then I also assist with the preservation of digital projects. The Jazz Oral History Project is my flagship project, ongoing because it's a huge collection. But we're getting close.
Getting close to
having everything up.
Oh, okay. Everything?
Yeah. Well, yeah, the transcripts and the audio, yes.
Is this any specific collection, or is it
the Jazz Oral History Collection?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, out of IJS, Institute of Jazz Studies.
Again, for those of us who are not familiar with the Jazz Oral History Collection, why don't you tell us about that?
So the Jazz Oral History Collection was a project that I believe began in 1973. Milt Hinton, famous jazz musician, went to the national, the NEH, the National something for the Humanities.
Endowment for the Humanities?
And yes, I think, yes.
Okay.
And he wanted to do interviews with colleagues of his who were pre-swing and swing era jazz musicians to capture their life histories and their career histories.
Oh, okay.
And so there are 120 interviews, constituting more than, I believe, 5,000 hours of audio and more than 25,000 pages of accompanying transcripts.
Okay. And he started this back in
1973.
And went up.
The project ended in 1982.
Now, has anybody else picked up where he left off? I mean, because that's another 40 years we're talking about.
No, I know. And there are people who have passed on that represent missed opportunities, right? I kind of spoke with Vinny once about maybe doing another one, but that's been all talk so far. But I think that would be amazing to do another one.
I think you should too. You know, there are a number of people you could possibly talk with, right here in New Jersey.
Right.
And,
yeah.
You know, and I think they'd be more than happy to pick up the reins and go on and continue this, because it's like I was talking with Elizabeth earlier about people preserving their ancestries, and we talked about the Count Basie collection and how he has whole home movies of when he was growing, with his family and so forth.
Right.
And how that stuff is being saved, and how somebody like myself, you know, doing the same thing with all my photographs and all my video. I have a little problem here. There's a little.
Yeah, I can hear somebody's anxious for something.
I think he wants to go out, so I'm gonna just, you know.
Let's pause. Sure.
The part where I'm gonna edit. Okay. Hey, Ronnie. Yeah. Yeah, he's got to go out. Because he's crying here. And I don't want an accident in this room. Go that way. Okay. Edit. Dog. Outside. All right, got it down. And so, we were talking about the Jazz Oral Histories, and how it would be great if we picked the reins back up where Milt Hinton left off, and because we have what's his name? Oh gosh, Leo Johnson. Is he part of the Oral Histories?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, and I think
almost everybody who worked on that project has now passed on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as far as I mean, there might be a couple of the musicians who are still alive, because Milt Hinton prioritized people who were ill.
Oh, okay.
Or older.
Mm-hmm.
And so he wanted to capture their stories before they left this vale of tears.
Yeah. Yes, really. It would be good. It would be a shame if we missed out on a lot of them.
I know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and but you're dealing mostly with faculty, I guess, when it comes to these.
Faculty and students, I do a lot of reference to with the students now that I do chat reference and email reference. I
Okay.
work with students a lot, and the professors in my liaison departments, they also they come to me and say, can you do a session with my students to teach them how to
Mhm.
do research? And I also teach students how to evaluate information. That's
Mhm.
probably even more important than search strategies, is getting them to understand that just because they see it online doesn't mean it's a reliable source
Right,
of information.
right. Weeding all that misinformation is
Well, yeah, and especially if it agrees with something that you already believe, people are more likely to believe it. I fall into that trap too.
yeah, this is true. This is true. And you really need to do a little bit more research than yourself and what, Facebook.
Yes. Yeah.
I guess you could say that. But so you're not really doing any specific teaching as far as classes or anything like that, or are you?
No, no. I do the English 102 is probably our biggest
Mm-hmm.
sort of customer, right? All of the basic English writing classes
Mhm.
that students are required to take. And then I do specialized courses for my liaison areas. Yeah.
Okay, and I know you have two children of your own,
Yes.
and they're both college age right now.
Yes.
Your son, he's the older. Is he?
He's the oldest.
Okay.
Yes.
Did he
He
graduate?
just graduated from culinary school
Oh, okay, good. All right,
with
that's
a concentration in baking. Yes.
good. Tell him I'm hungry and we need some restaurants opened again, please. Because
Well, and that's the problem. He's having he can't find a job.
I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And
I mean, he didn't get to finish out. He had a lab class and
Mhm.
that he didn't get to finish out because of the pandemic.
Mhm.
They gave the students the option of writing a paper instead to finish out the
Yeah.
semester. So he was able to graduate. But this was his last, the spring was his last semester, and it
Mhm.
got totally boondoggled
Yeah.
by COVID.
I feel so bad for these kids.
Yeah.
They're never gonna be able to experience this again. They're not gonna be able to replicate this or get these few months back. It's really
Yeah.
a shame.
Yeah.
And your daughter is at Rutgers University.
That's correct.
Again, without disclosing locations or anything like that. How is she managing? I mean, because I know my daughters are doing the same thing. They're freshmen. They just finished up their freshman year, so
Right.
they adapted rather well, and I was
Yeah.
surprised and happy about that. But
Right.
I know some
My daughter's having some trouble with the online learning environment. It's just not ideal for her.
Mhm.
She managed last semester. She's trying this semester, and she's going to have to be on campus because she's taking a core class in her major that requires a lab.
Oh.
So she's going to have to go to campus
Oh wow.
a couple of times,
She's one of the
maybe once a week.
She's one of the very few.
Yeah.
One of
Yeah.
the very few there. Okay. And okay, let's go on to what do I have? I have something written down here called back, and I don't know what that is. Oh, I know what that is. We went over that.
Okay.
But you have, I think it was you and your husband have an anime graphic novel publishing company. Is that correct?
It's actually a tabletop role-playing game company. Yes.
Oh, tell me about that.
Galileo Games.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, Galileo Games.
Galileo Games? Okay.
Yes.
Tell us about that, because I'm not following that at all. My son follows it, or
Right.
follows, online gaming. So what's that all about?
Well, so the tabletop is a little bit different than online, although now everybody's like doing Zoom meetings to play online together because
Right.
that's the only thing you can do. But Dungeons and Dragons was really the first tabletop role playing game.
Mm-hmm.
You have sheets for your characters that have all kinds of statistics, and you roll, and somebody walks you through an adventure where your characters choose to do certain things, and you roll dice according to the statistics on your sheet to see whether or not you succeed or fail
Okay.
at the things that you try to do. That's the mechanics of it. When Gary Gygax created Dungeons and Dragons, he was thinking about the Lord of the Rings, right?
Mhm.
So it was like, that kind of adventure is what he was running his friends through as characters. And so fast forward many, many years.
Yeah, because I
To the
remember Dungeons and
90s.
Dragons being the analog game when I
No, but that's what we still do, and what lots of people still do.
Oh, okay.
Still do analog.
Okay.
Still do analog. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And so our company publishes actual physical books or PDFs
Mm-hmm.
that people use to play the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and it's Galileo
Games.
Galileo
Yes.
Games. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Zach know about that because he's a big Dungeons and Dragons guy too. He used to do it with his buddies and friends and go to their houses and they'd work out all these
Yes. Yeah.
scenarios.
8 hours. Yeah. I did all of that. I don't really game much anymore. I've kind of moved away from that as a hobby, but Brennan is still very much involved, and he runs the company with a partner we merged with Brooklyn Indie Games a couple of years ago. Tim Rodriguez heads up Brooklyn Indie Games, and so now we're all one entity and working together, and it's been really great. Brennan really enjoys it. We put out a number of games, and I'm not going to promote here.
That's okay. That's okay.
But
you're more than welcome.
Have Zach give me a call.
I will. Maybe you can give him a job.
No. The company is Brennan and Tim. That's it.
That's it. Well, I don't know what he would be able to do anyway. He's a writer. So if you need
there are occasionally writing jobs. He should check out the Patreon.
Okay.
Actually, Brennan has a Patreon for stuff that he's doing, and that's that's paid work. So
Okay, Galileo Games, Patreon. I'm writing all this stuff down.
Yeah.
Good to know. When you're not working, what's your Saturdays like? What's your Sundays like?
Well, my Saturdays and Sundays are what everybody's Saturdays and Sundays look like, which is housework, chores, grocery shopping. But if what you're asking me is what my hobbies are,
I could ask you that.
Yeah. I quilt as a hobby.
Okay.
And I watch a lot of movies and television, like Netflix, Hulu, all that stuff. Although it's getting harder and harder to find things I'm interested in, so I'm doing more and more quilting, which is not bad.
I have just gotten into, Netflix and all the additional networks and so forth.
Right.
And I got turned on to Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely love it. It's 15 minutes of just, I just enjoy it. Well, first of all, I love cars. I love antique cars and vintage cars and comedians. It's just great stuff. So, and there is a huge amount of movies on there, some of which I'm very, very upset at myself for actually watching because
I know, right? That's 2 hours of your life you're never getting back.
But there are some very, very bizarre movies on there. And you have any guilty pleasures as far as what you watch? And come on, be honest.
No, yeah. So it depends on whether or not I feel guilty about it. Like, so my real guilty pleasure is like stupid suspense horror movies,
Okay.
right? Like that's my preferred genre. If I'm going to watch something new, it's going to be along the lines of like of course now I can't think of the titles, right? I completely blanked.
Stupid suspense horror movie I just saw was the Banana Splits movie. No. Without going too far into it, when I was a kid, the Banana Splits was a Saturday morning TV show. Right?
I remember the Banana Splits,
and I thought it was, it was a quirky thing, and I the very, very, campy songs and stuff that they had. And then they came out with this movie, and I said, "Oh my God, great! There's going to be a great, movie about the Banana Splits." Well, it turned out to be one of the most horrific horror flicks.
Oh my goodness!
I had ever seen, and I was like, again, I wait 90 minutes of my life I'll never get back. It was written so poorly, I was so disappointed in it. But I have to recommend it to everybody. So look it up, the Banana Splits.
Okay, the Banana Splits movie. Listen, if you didn't like, if you regret it. Why should I risk 90 minutes of my life?
Because I don't want to do this by myself. I don't want to wallow in my misery by myself. Although I am a big fan of very, very bad movies. I have looked into the 50 worst movies of all time, which the list just keeps on growing.
Right.
And I am a sucker for a bad movie. But it has to be a really bad movie and but not intentionally a bad movie. Let's put it that way.
Yes, yeah.
This Banana Splits movie was pretty much intentionally bad. So I wasn't too happy about that. But so
I think for me, movies like, so Insidious is one that I actually really enjoyed, and it's not a terrible movie. It's a pretty good movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Blumhouse movies, I tend to like. I refuse to see the Fantasy Island movie because I'm like, what is that like?
Fantasy Island movie.
Yes, Blumhouse did a Fantasy Island horror movie. I'm like,
okay,
like. As far as I can tell from the previews, I haven't watched the movie. Uh-huh. As far as I can tell from the previews, Mr. Rourke is like the devil, and I'm like, what? No, that's totally the opposite of the point of Fantasy Island.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of the premises and some of the episodes of Fantasy Island gave you some kind of like suspense. It wasn't always like, living out a positive fantasy.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
But, well, now I'm going to have to look it up because you'll catch.
Like I said, I haven't seen it, and I don't want to watch it because I like my memories of the original Fantasy Island, and I'm just going to get mad if I watch this movie.
Yeah. Okay. I should have kept my memories of Banana Splits on Saturday morning cartoons that way. So, did I lose your audio?
Yes, but now I'm back.
Okay, good. All right, just checking tech.
So the pleasure that is schlocky that I do not feel guilty about at all is that I am a huge Godzilla movie fan.
Yes! Someone else, finally. I love when Monster Week comes on. I am there. I used to do the 4:30 movie. Monster Weeks on Channel 7, ABC, and on the East Coast here in New York area, without disclosing locations of where we are. Yes, Godzilla Week, Mothra, Rodan, Ghidorah. I love that stuff. And
when I was a kid, the UHF station used to play Godzilla versus the Smog Monster every year,
which is one of the 58 worst movies of all time. It's in the book. It really, really is. And
I remember the hippies with their body paint singing "Save the Earth."
Yeah. Oh God! But you still watch them now?
Yes, when the 2016 movie came out,
right?
I went and saw that in the theater.
I did too.
I saw King of Monsters last year when it came out.
I missed that
in the theater.
Okay.
I bought them both.
You bought them both.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to, go on Netflix and look all of them up. I'm sure they're there somewhere. But,
Amazon for a while through Prime had a ton of the original Toho Godzilla movies available to watch. So I watched, I would sit and sew and watch the Godzilla movies.
Did you watch them in the movie theater when you were a kid?
No, I never did.
Oh, Saturday days. You got to sit from 11 o'clock in the morning until 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
Right. Oh, man. You can't explain to people, to younger people, that you could go into the movie theater and sit and watch the movie over and over again all day if you wanted to.
Right.
And it was wonderful.
I was lucky to watch Star Wars, I think, 3 times. The first time I saw it. It was absolutely great, Yeah. And but not the same movie, the Godzilla movies. They would show Godzilla, then Son of Godzilla, then Mothra, and then Destroy All Monsters. And I gotta say, I did watch it. They came back out on TCM, I think, and they had Monster Week or whatever it was. I forget the actual studio. And they showed it in the original Japanese version with English subtitles. Kind of difficult to watch, a little bit difficult to watch. I didn't find it as enjoyable. Probably the fact that 40 or 50 years has also passed. And I'm a little bit more, choosy in the kinds of films that I watch. But
well, and the pacing in movies made back in the 50s and 60s was very different.
Yeah,
very different than what we expect today.
Really is. I mean, we need things, scenery to change like every 90 seconds or less. Whereas these guys back there, you could be in somebody's laboratory for 5 minutes before anything actually happened.
10 minutes.
10 minutes, So, but I don't even know when we're going to get back to a movie theater, so we're just going to have to depend on watching it on our big screens and so forth. Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable with the idea of going to a movie theater, especially with the lack of mask protocol I see in my fellow Americans. It does not fill me with confidence. So, and AMC theaters are the closest theaters to where I live, and they're not enforcing any mask protocols, so there's no way.
They're doing the every other seat or every 2 seats. I saw some online protocols that they were trying to enforce.
Right.
And I didn't see any masks either, so it's kind of distressing.
Yeah. I mean, and going to movies is one of the things I really miss about not being, about the before times. Yeah. The
BC before COVID, after
COVID.
Yeah. What I'm missing is live music, and we used to get a lot of that, at Rutgers.
Right. Yeah.
With all the jazz concerts at Clements and so on and so forth, and myself being in a band and stuff, just missing playing so much. There's nothing like it. So, but here's hoping that soon we'll be back out there again.
Yes.
I don't know when, but I'm really, really looking forward to the day.
Restaurants are the other thing that I really miss. Going out to eat.
Yeah, because there were times when you would just say, "What do you want to do for dinner tonight?" It's like, "Oh, let's go out." You can't do that now. You can't do that anymore.
I mean, you can, but again, I'm one of those people who's more cautious. I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Right. Well, here's to a time when we don't have to be as cautious, and we can be a lot more friendlier and or just a lot less carefree. I mean, a lot more carefree about how we go about it.
Yeah, a lot less isolated. Yeah.
There you go. That's a good question. A good answer. Good response for it. So anyway, Krista, we're coming to our end here for Undisclosed Locations, and I want to say thank you very much for participating in this. If you could share it with your friends and push it along, give it some public relations, some marketing, whatever you want to do, we'll get it out there. We're using the hashtag undisclosed locations, and any other hashtag we can come up with. I think we're going
to let us know. You're the official hashtag person at Dana now.
Oh, I am? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's me. Official hashtag. I'll get shirts made up.
Yeah.
Krista White, thank you very much. All right.
Thanks, Mark.
All right.
It was a pleasure.
All right, we'll be in touch soon, and
okay.
We could do this on a live set or something like that sometime.
Yeah, I hope to see everybody at Dana again soon.
Real soon.
I miss everybody.
Okay. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
And that's our show for today. Be sure to join us for future podcasts. Friend us, follow us, check us out on whatever you do. Friend us, follow us, check us out. Follow and share us on Facebook and Instagram and elsewhere on the web. Hashtag undisclosed locations. For further information, contact me, Mark Papiani, at papiani@rutgers.edu. Thanks very much for listening, and I'll speak with you again from another undisclosed location.